You were listening to episode 161 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John, and sadly this week I'm joined by Ryan.
Hey everybody, here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and me and John are getting divorced in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge. Sorry, kids.
Now you can see why I was sorry to be joined by Ryan this week. Yeah.
It's a somber day.
Yeah. So, in celebration, I guess, in a sense, right, of the Game Awards, It Takes Two, actually won Game of the Year. Spoiler alert there. If you haven't seen, then you're living under a rock.
Congratulations.
So we decided to play some It Takes Two. I picked it up, several weeks ago when Barry was on a podcast from Premium Games and or Premium Edition Games, and decided to boot it up. Dude, that was fun, but we'll talk about it a little later. To start off with, recent pickups. I see you have nothing, so
nope.
I will jump into mine. So this week I have the Strixhaven D&D books. They are on the way. So I've got 2 copies of that coming to my house. And I also got my Premium Edition patches finally. So those are for Super Blood Hockey and an unboxing. Very high quality patches. If you have any Premium Edition games, definitely look into the patches if you don't have one, because your game is not complete.
Stuff.
Yeah, your game's not complete until you have a patch, technically. So I think it's pretty cool.
And if you don't know what Premium Edition games are and you want patches, you can go listen to our previous episodes.
Yeah, I think there's a Premium Edition Games update episode that we had, 3 weeks ago? So yeah, check that one out. Pretty cool. So we talk with Barry, who is one of the heads of that organization, releasing some retro games done right on new consoles, specifically the Switch right now. And it's good stuff. So a little update from him, discussions on what they're doing, and just all around fun. And then, let's see, dude. Currently playing. So I started and completed Killzone 3 on the PS3 the other day.
Nice.
So that was fun. So I'd already beat 1 and 2 years ago and said, well, let's boot up 3. It's a 7-hour game. I wasn't feeling too great. I'm still kind of feeling under right now. But, yeah, so I decided to boot that up, and I think it took me 3 days. I started on a Sunday, beat it on a Tuesday.
Now, I forget. Just because I never played any of the... Well, no, I played... There was like a Killzone game that came out on like Vita for PS Now or PlayStation Plus once or something, and I think I played some of that.
Well, it was on Vita. They had like Killzone, I think it's like Liberation or something. I don't remember the name.
I don't know. It's the only one I've ever played. But was it Killzone 2 or Killzone 3 that had like that, oh my god, like trailer that was just total bullshit, but like... It made everybody think that it was going to be like the best looking game ever made, and it was going to be so next level. But it was like right when like the line between gameplay and CGI was kind of blurring, and you didn't know what was going to be gameplay or not.
So
I think it was 2.
That was 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I know specifically that was 2 because I was hyped, dude.
Yeah, that was so hyped.
Not to say that it was a bad game, because I enjoyed Killzone 2.
It just couldn't live up to what people were seeing and trying to be like, oh.
Now, I will say, though, with Killzone 3, graphically, it's actually not that bad. It is pretty good.
Is it PS3 or PS4?
It's PS3, and I think it's late gen PS3. Or I guess late in life cycle PS3, not late gen. But
whatever.
Whatever. It came later in its life cycle. But graphically, it wasn't bad. I think the cinematic aspects of it were pretty good. I think a lot of it has to deal with the fact that, playing on a 4K TV and stuff nowadays, maybe, that might be some assistance compared to what I was playing on years ago. But I thought graphically it was good. I thought the in-game graphics were also good, instead of just like the cinematic aspects. And I enjoyed it. I think the one thing from a spoiler perspective that I did not like was the ending. It was kind of lackluster at the end, and I had mentioned that as well on some tweets and such. So at Game Deflators on Twitter and The Game Deflators on Instagram and Facebook. So you can check that out. But I thought the ending was just slightly lackluster. It did have like, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly here, I might be thinking something else because I played a lot of games this past week. I think there was like an end credits type scene as well.
Was it the last game? Or have there been since?
There's no. I think it's Shadowfall, I want to say, is most recent. And that one's on PS4. unless there's another one I'm not thinking of. But yeah, so I specifically, like, I ended up buying earlier this year. I had bought the PS4 version for like $5 or $6, and I realized I didn't have number 3 and I hadn't played it yet. So I decided to buy number 3 randomly as well, and then that's what I, of course, booted up this week. But I thought it was, like I said, overall pretty good. I'm not a big fan of, like, the weapons in that game, and it's like this with most Killzone games. You don't really need to use all the other weapons that come across. Like, does it make things a little easier?
You just get the assault
Sure.
rifle at the beginning, and that's enough?
That's enough. Like, it really is. I mean, the sniper is probably the only other weapon that you kind of really need to use, but it's more situational basis anyways, where you have sniper situations that it's like, hey, there's a sniper in this corner or whatever, like off in this other building. Like, yeah, you kind of have to use it in those instances. But other than that, like, the rocket launchers aren't, at least I feel, 100% necessary unless it's like some sort of boss type battle. There's a couple like arc launchers and such that you can use that shoot a bunch of missiles. Those things are only necessary in like those situations specifically. Can you use them? Does it make things easier? Yeah, it does. But it's not 100% needed. There's even times where you pull out like, I guess, like Gatling guns or like larger automatic like guns that you rip off of like their stands, and you can actually, it's kind of dumb because they have like these refill points for ammo, and maybe it's because I was playing in normal mode and not like hard mode, but you can pretty much like take a giant ass gun with you, and when you run out of ammo, just keep it in your reserve, go to one of these checkpoints that has ammo and fill it right back up. And the same thing with like rocket launchers. Oh, I want to use a rocket launcher this whole level. Let me get my rocket launcher ammo, use it several times, just like clear out an entire area. So it makes it kind of stupid easy in that respect. But nonetheless, I think it was fun, and it's kind of campy in a sense with, you know, what's going on, like the whole military vibe, and, you know, the going against sergeant orders and all this other stuff. Like it was interesting. So that was pretty good. I'll play the next one, I don't know, at some point soon. I mean, I might as well, right?
Yeah.
But I booted up Ghost of a Tale was the other game I have, and that does not have a North America release on PS4, I don't think. I want to say it's on Steam, though. And it's pretty much a stealth RPG where you play as a mouse, and you're in like, you've been imprisoned by a bunch of rats, and you're trying to make your way out of like this rat kingdom and find your wife at the same time. And there's like friendly rats around the world that you're in that will assist you in certain aspects. So you have like, I guess this is a spoiler too, but you have like this one rat, I forget his name off the top of my head, but he's the one that leaves like a key in your cell and tells you how to get out and where to meet him. And there's like another rat specifically like sells materials and whatnot, and he'll talk to you because obviously you're going to spend gold with him. But then there's a bunch of rat guards you have to avoid, and you boost up your armor and such through the items you find. So like I have a pirate hat and a pirate patch or eye patch and like different types of leggings that you find, and you just kind of explore these different areas of this like rat world. But the graphics are actually very good. I'm pretty pleased with how that looks. Mechanics wise, I think it works very well. It's got this nice type of puzzle element while also having this like stealth RPG element tied to it. So it's pretty cool. And then the story so far, it hasn't really picked up much, but it's gotten to a point where now I've got like my first key mission that I need to like move forward with doing something so something else will happen. So we'll see. It's about a 10-hour game, and I'm maybe an hour and a half into it. So I'm kind of curious to see how this one picks up. Cool. But yeah, that's what I got this week. And then I think, we'll be talking new games resolutions pretty soon. And I'm pretty sure I decided what I want to play. So we'll have that on in a few weeks here at the new year. But go on. Your
Speaking
turn.
of new games resolutions, I got to the final like brutal robot thing at the end of the Bowser Castle, and I died, and then I just didn't have time to try it again. So I will be at the moon or done with the game by next week.
You think so?
Yeah.
Just in time. Have you decided what you want to play yet for next year?
Dude, I remember I came here like a month or two ago, and I had a few ideas, and I've forgotten what several of those ideas are. I was actually watching some more AGDQ from 2019, I think, and somebody was doing like an hour-long speed run of Octopath Traveler, and I was like, dude, if I speedrun a game, that counts as
It does.
beating it. And I think like the glitchless, like any percent category, like even as a first timer, I could probably do it in like, I mean, if they could do it in an hour, I can do it in probably like 3 or 4.
Maybe.
Which has got to be way better than playing all of Octopath Traveler from start to finish.
That game's like 40, 50 hours.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So I was thinking about I could cheese it that way. I think the other idea I had was like just play as many Dooms as possible, because I've not ever played any of the Dooms really. I played like the first level of Doom 2016 when I first got Game Pass.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I've been enjoying, and I'll talk more about Odyssey once I'm done with it. Like, I don't know, man. I feel so disconnected from certain game genres anymore. Like I really wanted to play Mario because we had fun playing, like, what was it, like 3D Land or something we played.
I don't remember what
and
we
I
played.
was
one
like,
of them. Oh, it was New Super Mario Bros.
Yeah, and I was
on
like,
the
oh,
U.
maybe I'll do a Mario game next year. And that's what kind of prompted me to do Odyssey, because I hadn't really like gotten and tried to play through a Mario game like literally since Galaxy 1, and
Yeah.
Galaxy 1 made me feel like kind of, so I didn't even finish that one.
That's one I need to beat too. Galaxy 1 and 2.
Yeah, so, and then obviously I have not had luck with the RPGs, so I'm like, okay, maybe I try a shooter. Like, what are other genres that I can reach out to? Like, if I finish a game of Space Invaders, does that count?
No. You could probably do like...
I like Centipede.
there's like action RPGs that are like pretty short.
Yeah,
for the most
and
part.
I mean, there's stuff that's coming out next year too. Like, I had talked the Advance Wars remake on Switch that's coming
Well,
out.
I mean, if you're having trouble with RPGs, I think that's like a 30-hour game in itself, Advance Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously going to play Elden Ring. Whether or not I can beat it
Well,
is another question.
I'm pretty sure there's not going to be like cross-platforms. So either you're getting it on Series S or you end up with a PS5 and then we play it together.
Yeah, that's probably not
Yeah,
gonna
that's not
happen.
going to happen anytime soon. So kind of disappointed. I need to get that PS5 in my hands so I can actually play Elden Ring when it comes out.
Yeah, I think that the whatever I wind up picking, it's got to go in line with the something that I've always wanted to play, and I kind of lose aspect of that sometimes when I'm thinking about what I actually want to do. So I'll give it some deeper thought and come up with like a good short list soon. So other than that, if anybody saw the awesome trailer that came out, and unfortunately, from my opinion, is the best part of the game, I did get to play Retired Men's Nude Beach Volleyball League last night with my friends, and it is...
He did it in person, by the way.
It's impossible. It's so stupid. Like, it's just keyboard and mouse that we were using, or just keyboard. It's just using like the arrow keys to try to position yourself under this volleyball to knock it back to the other side of the net. And I am not a PC gamer, so I have zero good dexterity with doing that. But even my friends, like, they were having a hard time with it too. I think we lost every match and got all the way through up until the point where we were probably going into the final cutscene, and then Zach hit escape and skipped the final cutscene, and the credits started rolling.
Damn.
And it was like a very infuriating, like just barely entertaining enough to stick around.
So
hour and a half.
technically, you beat a game this week.
Yeah,
Nice.
as a
Nice.
group effort.
Yeah, they were all naked and they played Retired Men's Nude Beach Volleyball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was.
Quite the experience.
Yeah, definitely quite the experience.
Yeah.
If you like those games that are mostly weird dialogue, then this is a game that is mostly weird dialogue with some very not easy for me to play volleyball mixed in.
Yeah.
And it goes to like 25 points.
Oh, really? So it's long in each
Yeah.
match.
And volleyball is like you have to be serving to score.
Yeah.
And it does all this stuff, like it slowly over the course of the game starts to look more and more like an old TV, and you wind up knowing like having conversations with like the people that you're playing against that are just like weird. It's a very bizarre game.
Yeah, I don't know if that's top of my list to
Yeah.
play, but the trailer was quite nice.
Yeah, the trailer is hilarious. Check out the trailer. Best part of the game.
Yeah. So, seeing as that's probably what you got this week, we'll be talking a few things. So we've got the Game Awards, obviously just happened. So Ryan and I are kind of discussing the show there. Any snubs that we felt occurred, some of the wins. And then we are going to dive into the trailers that we liked. As soon as we talk about that, we will go into some new information regarding was the Activision Blizzard situation. So there's a whole thing right now with emails that have gone out regarding a union or really anti-union speech from them. And then we'll talk about It Takes Two and our review on that.
Takes two,
But
baby.
before that, and Ryan singing.
Me and John.
I thought we were going to divorce. So you can find us on thegamedeflators.com. Of course, social media at The Game Deflators on Twitter and at The Game Deflators on Instagram and Facebook. Find us on all those great podcast applications. Subscribe and catch us weekly. Okay, so
The Game Awards
Yeah.
2021 brought to you by Jeff Keighley.
I'll start on the negative note because yours is going to be probably more positive. So I felt that this show in general, I kind of agree with much of the community in the comments, and I saw this in like the live feed on YouTube when I was watching as well. This was not that great of an awards show. When you think about it from an awards show perspective, it was not that great. It was long. I mean, we're talking like 3 hours. The amount of awards that were actually like presented live and had people on stage and all of that, it just, when I think award shows, I look at even like the ESPYs, with ESPN or your Oscars or your Golden Globes or Grammys, whatever it may be. And while there's musical performances and like other things that occur within those shows, the main highlight is showcasing the actual like things that are winning awards. So you want to see little trailers and such, from each of those games. You want to hear from the developers. And this is a show that was supposed to be like for the developers and celebrating these people and what's going on with the industry. And it just felt that it turned into more of a bought out trailer showcase type of show. I mean, we had 3 hours with like 7 awards maybe that were or 5 or 6 awards that were actually shown live, presented
properly
by people,
by a hosting presenter, and somebody comes up on stage and gives a speech,
and then like in between each one was like, here's a trailer, here's another trailer, here's a world premiere, here's another world premiere.
We were talking earlier about it, and I was like, it's like if somebody took the Oscars and the Super Bowl and mixed them together, because it's got all of the trappings of an award show, but you're mostly there for the commercials.
Yeah, that's really what it ended up being. And like for me personally, though, I was actually looking forward to it being more so really a nice balance, right? I wanted to see all of the awards. And I wanted to hear from every developer and, every studio and every type of artist and a musical direct. Like I just wanted to see more of that and more of an understanding of their work. And what I got was just another trailer heavy type of show. Like if I wanted to watch that, I would watch a PlayStation showcase, or I'd watch an Xbox Play or whatever it is, or a Nintendo Nintendo Direct. Yeah, like I would watch those if I wanted to see a bunch of trailers. And it's not like, there were world premieres and, new trailers, and while that was cool and everything, I really felt like they could have done more of that in just like the pre-show and just showed a bunch of trailers and talked about it as like a pre-Game Awards type of thing, right? So if you wanted to watch all those trailers, you could, but if you wanted to just watch the awards, having like an award show with a few things kind of intermingled here and there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really kind of messed it up for me, is like the pure length of it being 3 hours and just so trailer heavy is what kind of bugged me.
I had a much different experience. So I watched it not live. I started watching it a few hours later. Watched about half of it, went to bed, woke up the next morning, watched the second half, and I found it a much better experience, split up. Most of the complaints I've heard is just that it was 3 hours for not a lot of payoff. I felt like stretching that out made it better, and from what I've heard from people online, I definitely think that like they could either do really well to cut this down to like a sleek hour and a half product that does a better job of showcasing the awards themselves, and then also if if you took out a lot of the fluff, like there was a lot of stuff in there that wasn't necessary. Like Nintendo didn't have anything to show. There was no Breath of the Wild 2 or anything new. They just showed sizzle reel of stuff that we already have heard of and seen.
Well, and there was
so you could cut all that and just include the stuff that's like world premiere, like brand new, never before seen, like opening with like the Senua's like gameplay footage trailer. Like that's something that's worth being there. But like seeing
when you had like the whole like Amanda Waller thing and the person getting on screen for like this cringeworthy acting, and then having the trailer for Suicide Squad, like it's cool and all to do that, but like, is it necessary? And then like,
I don't know. I thought that wasn't bad,
but like
I like when they do stage stuff.
But even like Sting singing a song from a game, like while it's cool, it's like,
dude, he's Sting. Don't
look. I like Sting.
Get down on Sting.
I like Sting, but like, does it fit? You know.
But they've been trying to bring like live music into game stuff for like a long time. Like it's huge at E3. All those orchestras that tour to do soundtrack like things, those do really well. Like, and I mean, I guess it was more pushing that and the Imagine Dragons. I didn't realize, but they're both from Arcane, that show for League of Legends.
Yeah.
So like that's some cross promotion. Obviously, it doesn't really need to be there, but I mean, I don't think it kills it for anybody. I think it's probably more fun for like the audience and the people that are participating necessarily than everybody at home. Yeah. It was cool having the Imagine Dragons thing tied in with the Bastion music though, and like kind of celebrating having those people who work hard in the industry being able to perform with like huge stars like Imagine Dragons. That's pretty cool.
Well, and I guess the other thing that kind of got me with this show is like, you know, towards the tail end when they were getting towards like the last two awards, we're like, all right, and let's go ahead and see like who won the following. It's like best RPG, and the winner is, and it's like there was no.
They kind of rattled through some of them pretty quick.
And that's one of the things I didn't like. Like you're trying to show all of this appreciation for these developers,
and then you blow through it.
Yeah, and you blow through it,
and nobody gets to get up and accept an award and give it a speech.
And then you have the whole thing. I mean, like maybe they weren't present, but still, I mean, you could do the whole like, you know, Anna nominees and show trailers and do all that stuff. But instead, it was just like this hyper focus on these trailers of just trailers, like minute too long, 3 minute long trailers. And I feel like if you cut some of that out, like even 4 trailers, if you cut 4 trailers out, you open up the opportunity to have more of those like presentations that are occurring. And I think that's really kind of, it's, I don't know, it's just, contradictory in a sense, right?
Yeah.
We're celebrating developers, but then we're going to just show a bunch of trailers because the corporations themselves are paying a bunch of money to us to show these games off. Like that's kind of what frustrated me. All right. So in regards to snubs and wins, I know we had like our predictions, and I don't remember. I don't think I said It Takes Two would win the entire thing. I actually thought that I said I would want it to win, but I felt that Metroid Dread was going to win. So I was actually shocked that It Takes Two won.
I think that It Takes Two really deserved it. And I mean, especially, you know, we played it. I think that there's a lot of good stuff that will come out of the publicity of a game like that winning. Like, it's going to encourage the creation of more awesome, innovative stuff like that in the future, I should hope. But like other notable wins, like as I was going through the list, just kind of looking at all the categories and the highlighted like who won, It Takes Two did well. Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy did well. Kenna Bridge of Spirits took a couple awards. FF14 took a couple awards. Forza took a couple awards. Metroid Dread, it only won one, but I think that that's a really big win to show Nintendo how much people are here for Metroid, since it's been kind of so, you know, underdeveloped over the years, at least not as much as people would like to see it promoted as a Nintendo pillar. So I think that'll send a good, strong message there.
And then with these awards, I think it was fan voting, wasn't it? Like all of them.
Not all of them. Some sections are fan voted. And then some
I could have sworn they all were. Because, like, I remember last year, I didn't vote this year, but I could have sworn... No, I did vote this year. But I could have sworn that last year everything was fan voted. But I agree with you on some of these notable games. Like Kenna, I definitely have been wanting to play Kenna Bridge of Spirits for a while now. Forza, I thought was really cool with like, and this award is actually, I like this award. The
90% jury, 10% fan vote.
Gotcha. So less so on the fan vote. I felt with the award that Forza won regarding like innovation for like disabilities and such, I always found that one to be pretty cool. And like Microsoft, I think, is one that's like Microsoft Games have won that several times in the past, and
they're doing really good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
GMTK, or Game Maker's Toolkit, on YouTube just yesterday posted he does an annual review of accessibility and its milestones that it's made throughout the last year. And for the most part, of all the like 25 or 30 games that he reviewed this year, like 90% of them are hitting at least something or making good strides towards accessibility. But like Microsoft, way beyond and above, is kicking everybody else's butt in this category. And like they said when they came on stage, like they made it a core pillar of their gameplay, which I didn't really know what that meant. I don't know if this is like the official like definition, but Mark was saying in the video that like it means that it will be a system that everything will built around. It'll be there from the start, and budget and time cuts won't affect it.
Yeah.
So it's like stand strong and true throughout the whole process. So
which is cool.
It's great.
Yeah. I like that, and that's really just a cool thing in general that they're doing, and I'm happy to see it happening within video games, and hopefully it continues on and other companies kind of pick this up, right, and see that it move forward. And it's nice that the Game Awards like recognizes that and puts out an award specifically for it, which is also pretty cool. So yeah, I guess anything that you felt was snubbed.
So Psychonauts 2, which I did not play, but
on which one?
Everybody really likes.
On which award?
I mean, it just didn't get anything at all.
I gotcha.
But people feel that the art direction in it should have maybe been better. I think Deathloop won in that category.
Yes,
art direction they did. That, and then I didn't notice this while I was watching the awards because I could have sworn I saw something, but when I was looking over the list, I didn't see any wins for Ratchet and Clank.
No.
And Ratchet and Clank was like really well received. I mean, it's basically like the current flagship PS5 title to show off next gen gaming and be that introductory awesome platformer for people, but like it didn't get anything.
Yeah, I don't. Ratchet and Clank in general doesn't get a lot of love from folks, which is always interesting.
I mean, it got a movie.
It did, yeah, but I mean, like it's
and a movie tie-in game. I mean, that Sly Cooper movie that never happened.
That's true. But no, Ratchet and Clank. Like whenever I don't know, man. I talk to a lot of different. Like I've talked to gamers over the years. I'm like, oh yeah, have you played this Ratchet and Clank? They're like, no, I haven't.
I played like one and couldn't get past like the speeder mission thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like it just doesn't get a lot of love from like it has like a core audience of people that love it. Like I love Ratchet and Clank. It's one of my favorite series.
It was just up against Spyro and Jak and Daxter and like
yeah,
all these other similar things at the time. Like it was so splintered, not everybody got a chance to play everything.
Yeah, and while Ratchet and Clank continues to be on every console since it started on PS2, you're right, it does get overshadowed by a lot of these other games, and ones that had a lot of mainstay success on even like the PS1. But for me, I would say, I'm not going to go into my wins because I didn't feel that there were many surprises on that front.
No, everything that I thought should win basically won. There were only a few contested. Yeah, really.
I think narrative, I really think should have gone to It Takes Two. Like after playing it today, I really think narrative should have taken it. Instead, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy took it. And while I can understand it's probably got a lot more depth because it's Marvel and the direction on that and the size of that type of game, I think you need to look at it more so in regards to like the true meaning of the story and what's going on versus like it's this huge multiverse type of experience of like Guardians of the Galaxy. And like we've already had so much Marvel as is. It's just kind of disappointing to see
all the Marvel
games
are kind of lackluster.
Yeah, I know, which is surprising that it won, given that there's better games I feel out there.
I think the Suicide Squad game looks better than how the Guardians of the Galaxy game looks.
I mean, honestly, I thought that both looked terrible.
Well, we'll get into the trailers and stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead and finish up.
And then, let's see. So, Elden Ring winning most anticipated game. Like,
Obvi.
Yeah, but you know what? I think they won it last year too.
They did.
And so that's why
It's
I'm like,
still the most anticipated game.
I know, and that's what kind of frustrated me. I'm like, it already won last year. Like,
Yeah,
that's the
but
most
what else
anticipated
is
game.
anybody looking forward to that
There
much?
were other games, like there
Let
was
me
Zelda
look at
Breath of the
what it
Wild
was.
2, I think, was on there. Horizon was on there as well. So I mean, I get it why it won, but it's just like, come on, like, can we give that award to it? Like, as much as I want to play Elden Ring and I'm anticipating it, I'm just as excited for God of War Ragnarok or Horizon Forbidden West or Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 coming out. Like, there's tons of games out there that I think could have won this and should have won this over Elden Ring, given
God
that
of
one
War
last year.
Horizon, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because they're not saying the name yet.
Yeah.
And Starfield. Dude, nobody's looking forward to Starfield that
No,
much.
I mean, but the other ones, yeah, people are looking forward to it. So that's why I found it to be kind of odd. And then art direction, I think everything other than Deathloop, and that's primarily because I just don't like the art style of Deathloop.
Yeah.
I think pretty much anything else could have won. I want to say Kena was one of those games as well for art direction. So I really do feel that those are the snubs for sure. So really, the games that won those awards, I feel should not have won those awards, those three. And then anything else really could have taken it for the most part. So diving into trailers, I know, I just shit all over trailers, but they were there, right? So at the end of the day,
I want to say, first off, like, there was no giant, like, Xbox Series X reveal or, Smash character reveal or anything that really got people stoked. But for the most part, as I look through the list, like, even the stuff that doesn't stand out as, like, super exciting, like the Cuphead DLC. It's DLC for a game that's years old now, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be hard as balls. It's going to look great. I mean, it's not a huge thing, but it's definitely something that's making people happy. Like, I think that there wasn't a lot of trailers and stuff here to hate on. I think for the most part, all the trailers that were like good and interesting did mostly a good job of showing stuff off. Like, I did notice a lot of gameplay trailers, and Keeley really made sure to plug like what games were showing actual gameplay, and things are looking really good for a lot of these games. I mean, right off the bat, the Senua's, like, that was incredible looking.
well, the only thing that disappoints me with that is that it's an Xbox exclusive now. Well, PC and Xbox. But yeah, I mean, as much as I just shit all over trailers, the fact that they were present, you kind of have to still talk about it, right? So the ones that really got me excited were Hellblade 2. So Senua's, I forget what the full name is, but Senua. That was pretty sweet, seeing that. And then a lot of different combat bits actually tied to it. So, like, it's been a while since I played the other one, but you had your sword and you had some other stuff that you would do within that game, and it was more of a darker tone, whereas this feels like it's a brighter tone in a way. And not a brighter tone, but there's a lot more combat. It looks like there's a lot more fluidity in what's going on. So I definitely want to play that one. It's while watching the trailer, I was like, man, either I need to borrow Ryan's like Xbox Series S to play this, or I just need to get a Series S and then wait for a GPU so I could play some other games. That one got me excited. Elden Ring, of course, it is anticipated. It won most anticipated game of the year, and I'm excited to play that one. Star Wars, surprisingly, was actually really badass looking. The Star Wars Eclipse, and dude, that game looks sick. Sonic Frontiers actually made my list. It looks like this. I mean, maybe
Breath
I'm
of the
wrong.
Wild Sonic.
Yeah, exactly. Like this open world Sonic style game. So that was actually pretty cool. And then tied with the trailer for Sonic 2, the movie, I felt that, that was a nice combination there for the show. And that got me pumped for sure. So Sonic Frontiers is definitely making my list here as a game that I'm excited for. Plague Tale. I love the first one. And if you haven't played Plague Tale, you 100% need to play it. The trailer for this one looked great, so I'm excited about that. And then, of course, Forspoken. I think all of these have actually made prior lists other than just Star Wars and Sonic, with them being kind of net new for me. But yeah, the others here I've been excited for quite some time, and that just continued after seeing these trailers.
Yeah, so a few things that I kind of pulled from the trailer list. I did pull Star Wars Eclipse out too, and not because I'm like huge on like extended universe Star Wars stuff. Like, I've never played the KOTORs really, or frankly, really any Star Wars games too much. But like now that EA doesn't have, full control over the license and other studios can make stuff, like after seeing Quantic Dream come out with like this just cool cinematic trailer, like there was nothing else to it than that. Like how hard must EA be kicking themselves for just making like shitty online multiplayer games and trying to just wring everybody's money out of them, and just like they didn't take full advantage of what they could have done with the time that they had full control over this license. And now I think there's just going to be a slew of way better stuff in the Star Wars universe coming out. And I think it's going to change a lot of the space for how we're going to look at licensed games coming out of Disney moving forward. Because like with the success of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy now, and then, I mean, Quantic Dream is obviously going to make, their style of game, or maybe try to make it even a little more action-y. But nobody's going to feel all that compulsion to continue to drive to make these big open world multiplayer, cash cow games when Marvel and Disney are focused on telling complete good stories. And as soon as they realize they can successfully do that with games by getting the right studios behind it and the right mentality, I think like what we've seen in the movie space will transfer over. Like there's not a lot of game franchises out there where, like, when's the last time you played a game that had a set of characters and then played another game that had a set of characters and then played a third game where those things interact in a meaningful way, or it might even carry over data from choices you've made in those other things? Like we have crossover fighting games. Yeah. We have multi-generational games like Mass Effect, or not multi-generational, but multi-game stories that continue through. But like nobody's really done what Marvel and Disney can do here.
Well, I mean, I would argue that, we've had these like cinematic type experiences for a number of years now in gaming, but I think a lot of what we're seeing now, and like with Disney and Marvel kind of amping things up, it's really driving these other studios to even up their game, which is kind of cool. But I would disagree that it's like maybe just happening now, or like now is like we're just kind of kicking off. I think it's been present for a number of years. It's just there's more light shown upon it now because of the bigger studios that are now kind of taking upon that. Mm-hmm. By the way, I didn't mention this in my games, but Dune, Spice Wars, all the spice.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. That one didn't really catch me.
It's an RTS, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But you had mentioned like space games and stuff kind of coming out, and it's interesting to see like Starfield and Star Wars, and now Dune is it's kind of
more licensed properties.
Yeah, exactly. Which is interesting because in the past I hated licensed property based games.
They've mostly been garbage games for a long time. I mean, not always. There are some good ones.
There are some good ones, but like licensed property games in the past, like from movies and whatnot, have always like historically been pretty bad,
especially on like the PS3 generation and stuff.
Oh yeah, and even PS2 licensed games. Ooh, yeah, I totally get you.
So
okay, continue
other
on.
trailers. Tunic's been talked about for years and years. Finally has a date. Alan Wake 2, especially Alan Wake 2, that's going to be a survival horror. I think that'll be good. I think it'll be cool. I think that what was the last game that came out that's like in the same universe as Alan Wake? Control.
Oh, is that Alan Wake universe?
Yeah.
Oh, never knew that.
I'm not really into Sonic Frontiers, but I'm all about the Sonic 2 movie. I enjoyed the first one. I think this will be good. I don't know that I'm going to play Slitterhead.
It looked cool though.
But we'll see what happens with that. I mean, it's from Silent Hill.
Tamaya of that team.
Yeah. So we'll see about that. A game I'm probably not going to play, but I'm sure we'll do interesting stuff. Gollum.
Yeah. I'm excited about that one too.
I liked Space Marine 40K, Warhammer 40K Space Marine that came out on like Xbox 360 back in like 2009 or something. It was a cool game that made you feel like a badass. I never beat it, but this one looks like it's going to be an awesome sequel, and I'm here for the 40K.
I have it on PS3 if you want to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forspoken, Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2, also a game that's been delayed, and thank goodness, because it'll probably be pretty good and polished by the time it comes out, because this is a game that needed to be as good as they promised, because they talked about all these intricate systems and stuff they were going to develop. It seems like 3 years ago or more at E3, and I was like, oh man, and then it was just like, it's been forever.
Yeah.
Elden Ring, Halo TV show. I've heard people say that they're not excited. I don't think that Halo is too outlandish that it can't be done well. The Matrix experience thing, I'm definitely going to try to download that and check that out before the new movie comes out, just because it's free and I want to see the Unreal 5. And then Arc Raiders. I think Arc Raiders is the only one that I messaged you about after I saw the trailer. Something about it, it just grabs me. The aesthetic is cool. I think that the style reminds me of like Earth Defense Force or something. Those Japanese games where like you run around and you're just like a regular like guy with an M16 fighting giant ants and stuff. I think that it looks like it'll be a fun game. I don't know if it's going to be like all multiplayer or if it'll have like bots that you can work with to play, or if it's going to be like an online only experience. Like, I don't know what's going to be in it. And honestly, when I was watching it at first, I thought it was like, when I saw those like old school, like retro lines, I was like, is this like a super modern, like Space Invaders or something? Because there's that weird modernized Space Invaders game that came out like a while ago.
Yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. I was like, are they trying that again? But like Battle Royale, like online multiplayer style? That'd be crazy.
Battle Royale, Space Invaders. You know, it kind of reminded me of Star Troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. That's kind of the vibe I got right off the bat, which is actually pretty cool.
So
hopefully this has like a lot of comedy and stuff in it.
Yeah, that's everything that I saw that I thought was really good. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that was shown off. That was like, okay. I didn't see anything that I was like, that doesn't look good, or that looks stupid. Everything just was like either not to my taste, or I just wasn't catching my eye because I was thinking about something else probably. Mm-hmm. I mean, not everything's going to be a slam dunk, but I think there was enough content there, at least to make me happy. I think most people weren't happy, though.
Yeah. Well, let us know on social media your thoughts regarding the snubs, your favorite trailers, and some of the winners, and your overall thoughts on the Game Awards. I was going to say Game of the Year Awards, but Game Awards. But diving into our next thing, one company that was not at the Game Awards was Activision Blizzard. And so the article that we're going to talk about this week is Activision Blizzard reacts to unionization talk with anti-unionization talk. And this is Andy Chalk at PC Gamer. So basically, the Activision Blizzard employees have been gathering together to try and unionize over all the allegations and such that we've heard around harassment and such in the workplace and sexism and everything else you could think of. And so Blizzard actually sent out, I think it was their CFO or something, I don't remember the name, but he sent out an email to their employees talking about how...
Chief Administration Officer Brian Bulatow.
Okay, so he sent an email out to the employees basically warning them that unionizing would be giving up all of their rights to be able to speak for themselves.
Typical anti-union fear-mongering BS.
So, I mean, not to say like unions are like a godsend or the greatest thing ever, but like these employees are actively like trying to unionize.
Yeah, I'm pretty pro-union.
Yeah.
I used to be in like an okay union, I guess. It wasn't the best, honestly, but that's just because there's no great collective rights in Arizona.
Yeah. Well,
but I think that this is what the industry needs. Like, definitely it will push things like in the right direction, and I hope that it spreads, and I hope that like they can actually get out from under the foot of all this BS and at least turn the company around. Like you said, it's not going to be a godsend. It's not all of a sudden going to make everything perfect, But if it gets Bobby Kotick out the door and, gets these people the ability to like really, be able to afford to even eat in their own company cafeteria. Like I hear some studios can't afford to pay their people like anything near what they're worth, and to like really bring diversity and everything up in these companies. Like you got to get rid of those people at the top that are bringing it down. They've been saying it for weeks. And every week I come here and we talk about this, I'm like, this is going to be the final nail in the coffin. Yeah, this is going to be the final nail in the coffin. I don't know if this is going to be the final nail in the coffin this time, but I really hope that they can get this signed, because like, at least try. Like, if it doesn't work, are you going to be worse off than you are now?
Probably not. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I've spoken to people that have been part of unions, and there's people that love the unions. There's people that hate the unions. I can tell you that from an outside perspective, when going to like conferences and stuff and you have to deal with unions, it's a pain in the butt, because like the unions have like rights to be able to do like certain types of work in certain facilities. And if you want to go with like a separate company, it's not part of a union, like you have to pay extra fees and such. Like there's a lot of stuff. Like they definitely protect the workers, and that's kind of the cool thing in that respect. But I think the reaction here is really what's key. They're talking about unionizing, and this CAO, comes out and is like, hey, here's all this negative stuff about unions, and here's what you should be considering. And, really just kind of taking it upon himself and really the company to try and bash these unions, which is really just an attempt to undermine the employees and what they're trying to do. And so not only that, but then like shortly after that, there's a communication that went out to like managers talking about like how to answer questions to your employees about unions. And, I think when you kind of look at all this in discussion we had last week in regard to like, are they actually making progress? This is kind of anti-progress in the company and what they're trying to do. I think you have a number of employees who are frustrated, who have had tons of issues in the workplace, people who have left. Widespread issues, like even Bungie has allegations around harassment, such as I was reading this morning. We didn't add it to this week,
it's just been a pervasive problem in the industry.
Yeah.
Because bro frat culture.
Yeah, and then you have this big company, Activision Blizzard, who, we're making all these great strides to help you in the workplace. And let's go ahead and send out this anti-union speak because we don't like that the employees are trying to unionize. Like, it's backwards, man.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. At the end of the day, I don't think this is the nail in the coffin for Bobby.
But for Bobby.
Yeah. I don't think it's a nail in the coffin for him, but, this is definitely his direction, because something like this, it definitely has to have his sort of approval. When you're going to send that type of communication out specifically to your employees about anti-unionization talk, that's got to have like his oversight for sure.
Well, the one thing that's so crazy about all this is like, things were definitely heading in this direction. I think, like they've been working on this. This didn't just happen because of the layoffs at, was it Ravensoft?
I don't remember.
They had layoffs. They were promising these people for months that they were going to get raises or promotions or something. And like a lot of these people moved to relocate for the job for $17 an hour or something ridiculous. And it's like, then they got laid off.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe that they would do that now.
Yeah.
Like during all of this other stuff that's happening, they choose now to do that. Like, it's just so bold to just be like, we really don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the most like BS part of it. And then when I was talking to my friend about it, he was like, I think it makes sense. Like, if Bobby is going to be on the way out, it makes sense for the board to clean up house, make whatever changes they want now, just do anything, and then they could just blame it on Bobby, fire him, and pretend like it wasn't their fault at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know how any of that internal stuff plays out. I know that I think this situation is going to be a little different compared to other places, just because like Activision Blizzard is both like a huge publisher and a studio, whereas a lot of other studios need publishers, and that's where like a lot of the pressure and stuff comes down. So it's like, this is a thing where like the guy at the top who's making the most money, that's like the super evil corporate guy, wouldn't necessarily be directly in the chain at a normal studio because he would be like the publisher CEO.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well this situation and like how forming a union across an industry like this is going to work, because like for the most part, it's not like, you know, it's like union jobs, it's union contracts. Like they need a Overwatch 3 to be a union job and hire only union workers to be on it or whatever, I think is like the way that you would do it. So I don't know, like, it's going to be a huge change. It's going to be a lot of adaptation. We're all going to learn a lot about this, watching it happen in the industry, hopefully. But, you know, more power to them. If this is what they want to do, I hope that they get it done.
Well, and we'll have more information on this as it kind of progresses. Like I just
as the story unfolds.
Yeah, as the story unfolds, we'll have more. Okay. So on to brighter news, I guess. Our inflation deflation of the week, It Takes Two. This was developed by Hazelight Studios, published by EA, directed by Joseph Fares, and it was released in March of 2021. It is an action-adventure platformer. It got 9 out of 10s pretty much across the board. And, of course, it is our Game of the Year in 2021. So I talked about this when the trailer came out. I think the trailer came out last year, obviously.
I bought it when it came out.
Yeah, well, you bought it when it came out. I waited for it to hit a discount. I should have bought it a long time ago. Like, it's just that good of a game. But I think the trailer was E3 last year, or it might have been the Game Awards last year.
I think he was talking about it, showing at the Game Awards last year.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I just know that when I saw the trailer, I was like, I got to play this game, and I'm very happy we played this game today.
The book is great, isn't he?
Yeah, Hakeem, the Book of Love or whatever. So yeah, basically the game.
We played through the first level.
Well, first level, a boss.
We got past the boss. We did a little bit. I played the first level twice now, so I played with each character.
Yeah. So you got the different perspectives in that. Respect.
Yeah, I got the little bit of different perspective. So it's like, it's a great game.
Yeah. I agree, man. Like the time that we played with it, I'm going to pick it up for sure. It's a game that's on the list to play with my wife because it is co-op. The interesting thing with this game, and it's similar to Ferris's other game, A Way Out, you have to play this co-op. There is no single player option, which is pretty interesting actually when you think about it. And there's no way to be like, I'm gonna have 2 controllers and then I'll play one character, put it down, pick it up. Like you have to actively like
simultaneously.
Yeah, there's some stuff that you just can't do on your own. The cool thing is that it does come with like a friend code where you can go ahead and have like a friend download a demo of the game and it can join you.
They can just basically play it for free with you.
Yeah, it's 100% free. It actually, It Takes Two, I think you don't have to have PlayStation Plus, actually. Like you play with a friend online with no PlayStation Plus necessary, which is really cool as well. So that was cool. But I felt that, you know, when we looked at the overall plot, I mean, you've got 2 parents that are going through a divorce, and the daughter who wants her parents to stick together, so she has her like this book of love that she bought, and she cries over like these 2 dolls, one made of clay and one made of wood. And when she cries on it, the parents awaken, and I haven't gone through the whole game obviously, and neither of you, but the parents awaken as these 2 figures that are now animated, and this book is animated as well. And he talks about things like cooperation and working on your marriage and all this other cool stuff.
It's fun that like they're reacting. Like, they're not just like, well, I guess we got to do this. They're like, ow, we're dolls.
Yeah.
Like they're flabbergasted by their situation. They react. The comedy, it hits. It's funny. Mm-hmm. You know, the voice acting and the set designs are absolutely great. Like
the tiny world aspect, it kind of has that like Toy Story vibe to it, where you're going through all these different parts of the world, and it's really just like the garage.
Yeah, and it's such a believable warping of a real space that it doesn't feel as fantastic as it is. It's got a lot more like plausible, you know, I mean, I think that's the wrong way to talk about this. Like, not that it's plausible. It's just like, it feels like a really well lived in, realized space.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem like a level. It seems like this is somebody's crazy garage that's like an inventor or something.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I really love about it is the tiny world atmosphere and getting to experience that. The co-op and what we played was pretty phenomenal. I enjoyed that quite a bit. And you're right, the comedy was right on par with what it should be. And I cannot wait to dive deeper into this game for sure. From what I played, yeah, very deserving of a game of the year at this point, and I'm sure it will get so much better as I pick it up.
Yeah, can't recommend enough.
So complete in box of this game, we're looking at $26.74. It peaked at $33.99 in April of 21, which is like right after release. So I would say even like it peaked at $40, but trending.
I think it was new 40.
Yeah. Trending status it is holding at this point in regard to its price point. A loose copy will run you $25.99 on average, and then it peaked at $30.39 in April of 21 as well, so right around the same time frame. And then that is also that is actually trending a little up at this point. Your most expensive version is a $29 complete in box PAL PS4, and then your cheapest is a $21 loose PAL Xbox version. I picked this game up for $17 new at Walmart on clearance. It is probably not going to be on clearance anytime soon, given that it just won an award. And I'm sure there'll be some sort of DLC or some random thing to come out.
Do they still do, like, Player's Choice games, Platinum games, that kind of thing?
I don't know. I haven't seen any.
Is that an old generation thing?
I mean, I haven't seen any on PS4. I don't think they do. But they do Game of the Year versions, which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah, this is definitely... There's got to be like a Game Awards sale or something going on.
There is.
Like, if you could catch this close enough to the Game Awards, I'm sure you could probably get this for a reasonably good price. And
Digitally,
I think that no matter what you're paying, I think that this game is just going to be worth it. I think that you're going to get your money's worth out of this game, probably no matter how much you pay for it, because, I mean, you're not going to overpay for this game, basically. Yeah. Nobody's going to talk you into paying $60 for a game that was new $40. So, like, as long as you're not doing that, I think at any price point, it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, and at the existing price point of a complete box of $26, and you can pick this game up cheaper than that anywhere. Like, there's numerous places selling it for probably $20. And
this would be a great game for, like, a buy two get one. At GameStop or something. This is the perfect kind of game for that because it's already going to be a little bit lower priced because it wasn't a full price game at launch anyways, but it'll have amazing sticking value.
Mm-hmm. And I would say, like, at its current price point, I would say honestly deflated. I think, if you picked this game up for $30 new, it would still be a great experience. I think it'd still be a great deal overall for you. So I'm going to say deflated on this for this week. And given that I paid $17, 100% deflated. It's totally worth more than $17.
Yeah, I'll go deflated on you.
Yeah. That's actually, I think that's one of our first deflated on like a newish
game. Yeah.
Yeah, because like normally you'd be like, yeah, it's just right, or, hold off.
Well, because who wants to pay more?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, if you found it for $30 new, it's totally
it wouldn't be bad.
So that's some good stuff. So I'll probably play this here in probably a few months once my wife and I finish Tomb Raider. So hopefully I have a review down the road on like the overall game. But in terms of next week, I know we're gonna probably double up in some respects. So we gotta figure out the games we're gonna play because the following week will be
happy holidays
stuff. Yeah, holiday stuff with family and whatnot. So probably not a chance to record in person. So we'll have to figure out our content, but I think you brought up a good idea, some Christmas themed type
we'll
of
take
talk.
care of some Christmas memories and games that are coming out this year. We'll talk about the holidays in gaming.
Yeah. And then I don't know what our other topic is, probably just in our standard episode. And
maybe we can even find a winter themed game.
A winter themed game?
Yeah.
We could play Game of Thrones.
Because we already played like the Nightmare Before Christmas one. I don't know how many other actually explicit Christmas games you have.
Cthulhu Saves Christmas.
Okay.
I don't have it.
Oh, okay.
But we could probably
make it happen, maybe.
We can maybe make it happen with Cthulhu Saves Christmas. We'll figure it out. I probably honestly do have some Christmas themed games. I probably have a Grinch game, to be honest.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Didn't we do a Grinch game before?
I don't remember. We played so many games now over the years. Like, if you think about it, at 161 episodes, we have played like over 160 games because we've had
multiple episodes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's pretty crazy when we think about it. So, all right, cool. God, man, we could have beat so many games in that time frame.
No.
Interesting.
No,
well,
we couldn't have.
We're on the path to 200, but thanks for listening to episode 161 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John.
I'm Ryan.
And thanks for listening.